What if Anakin defeated Obi-Wan without burning on Mustafar? Let's explore the depths of it in the video. Anakin doesn't jump. That's it. That's the moment that changes everything. 3 words. 1 decision. And the entire galaxy shifts on its axis. Obi-Wan has the high ground. He said his piece. It's over, Anakin. The line that should end with fire and screaming and a broken body sliding toward the lava. But Anakin Skywalker, for the first time in hours, stops. He thinks. And he doesn't jump. What happens next creates a Vader the galaxy has never seen. Not a broken man in a life support suit. Not a wheezing shadow of his former self. But something far more terrifying. Anakin Skywalker at full power, unburned, unstoppable. And Palpatine has no idea what he's unleashed. The rivers of lava churn beneath them as 2 brothers face each other for the final time. Obi-Wan stands on the volcanic slope, lightsaber raised, sweat dripping down his face. Below him, balanced on a hovering platform, Anakin's yellow eyes burn with rage. His face is twisted with betrayal. The man Obi-Wan trained is gone. Something else has taken his place. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. The words hang in the scorching air. Anakin's grip tightens on his lightsaber. Every instinct screams at him to leap, to attack, to destroy. The dark side demands blood. In another timeline, he jumps. He lets arrogance drive him into a foolish attack. Obi-Wan's blade finds him. He falls into the lava. His body burns. His lungs fill with ash. He becomes more machine than man. A broken weapon in Palpatine's hand. But that is not this timeline. Anakin pauses. Something flickers behind those yellow eyes. Not mercy. Not doubt. Something far more dangerous. Calculation. He remembers his training. Not just from the Jedi, but from the Sith. He remembers Palpatine's lessons about patience. About using the Force as a tool rather than a blunt instrument. About waiting for the perfect moment to strike rather than rushing in like a fool. The dark side whispers to him, feeding his rage, urging him to leap, to attack, to destroy. But there is another voice now, the voice of cold logic that the dark side also grants to those wise enough to listen. Anger is a weapon, but a weapon must be wielded with purpose. Fury is power, but power without direction is just chaos. And he remembers something else. Something Obi-Wan himself taught him years ago during their training sessions on Coruscant. Never attack from a position of weakness when you can change the battlefield itself. If the terrain favors your enemy, don't adapt to it. Reshape it. You underestimate my power, Anakin snarls, but he doesn't jump. Instead, he thrusts his hand forward, reaching out with the Force, not toward Obi-Wan himself, but toward the ground beneath him. The platform beneath Obi-Wan's feet shudders. The rock groans. Hairline fractures spider across the volcanic stone as an invisible pressure begins to build. The Jedi Master's eyes widen as he feels the ground beginning to crack. The volcanic stone splitting apart under the tremendous pressure of Anakin's will. He tries to leap away, but Anakin is faster. So much faster. With a savage pull, he rips the ground from beneath his former master's feet, sending tons of volcanic rock tumbling into the lava below. Obi-Wan tumbles through the air, desperately trying to orient himself. He reaches out with the Force to slow his fall, to find purchase on something, anything. But Anakin is already there, pushing against him, accelerating his descent toward the lava mere meters below. The heat is unbearable. The fall is inevitable. At the last moment, Obi-Wan manages to catch himself on a rocky outcropping, his fingers scraping against the burning stone. The skin of his palms sears on contact, but he holds on, pulling himself up with desperate strength. He lies on the narrow ledge, gasping, his robes smoldering from the heat of the lava just feet below him. He can feel the rock crumbling beneath him, can feel the heat baking through his clothing. But Anakin gives him no time to recover. He leaps from his platform, not upward toward certain defeat, but sideways, landing on stable ground above Obi-Wan's position. And immediately he presses his attack. His lightsaber crashes against Obi-Wan's with devastating force, driving the exhausted Jedi back toward the edge of the narrow ledge. One wrong step and he falls into the lava. One moment of weakness and he dies. Obi-Wan parries desperately, his defensive form straining under the relentless assault. His arms ache with every block, his legs burn with every step. He has never seen Anakin fight like this, with such cold fury, such calculated aggression. The wild attacks of before have been replaced by something far more terrifying. Precision guided by rage. Power tempered by patience. The best of the Jedi combined with the worst of the Sith. Their blades lock, blue against blue, and Obi-Wan looks into the eyes of the man who was once like a brother to him. He sees the yellow glow of corruption, the madness of the dark side. But beneath it, he sees something else. Pain, betrayal, a desperate need to be understood. Anakin, please. This isn't you. You're better than this. I know the man I trained. I know the hero you can be. Don't let Palpatine's lies destroy everything you are. This is exactly who I am, Anakin hisses through gritted teeth. This is who I was always meant to be. The chosen one, the most powerful Force user in the galaxy. And you, the Jedi, the Council, you all tried to hold me back. You never trusted me. Never believed in me. Never let me become what I was destined to be. That's not true. Obi-Wan insists, even as he struggles to hold his ground against the relentless pressure. I loved you, Anakin. You were my brother. Everything I did because I believed in you. I trained you because I saw your potential. I defended you to the Council time and again. I stood by you through everything. For just a moment, something flickers in Anakin's eyes. Pain, loss, the memory of what they once were. Missions they flew together, battles they fought side by side, quiet moments of friendship between the chaos of war. For just a moment, the yellow glow seems to dim, but then his face hardens and he pushes forward with renewed fury. Your love means nothing. Padme's dying, and you would have let her die. The Jedi would have let her die. Only Palpatine, only the dark side, offered me a way to save her. And you tried to take that from me. You tried to turn her against me. You made her fear me. He breaks the lock with a savage twist, sending Obi-Wan stumbling backward. Before the Jedi can recover, Anakin's blade slashes across his chest, cutting through robes and flesh. Obi-Wan cries out in pain, dropping to one knee. His lightsaber falls from his grip, rolling across the volcanic stone toward the edge of the ledge. He clutches his wound, blood seeping between his fingers, and looks up at the man who was once his brother. Anakin, Obi-Wan gasps, his voice weak with pain and grief. If you strike me down, you will never come back from this. There will be no redemption. No matter what power you gain, no matter what Palpatine promises, you will spend the rest of your life knowing that you killed me, that you murdered your brother. Is that what you want? Is that the man Padme fell in love with? Anakin stands over him, lightsaber raised, the lava casting his face in hellish orange light. He looks at the man who trained him, who fought beside him through countless battles, who was the closest thing to a father he ever had. He remembers their first meeting on Naboo, when Obi-Wan was just a Padawan and Anakin was just a slave boy with dreams of becoming a Jedi. He remembers the years of training, the frustrations and breakthroughs, the bond that formed between them, and he feels nothing but cold resolve. I don't want redemption, Obi-Wan. I want power. I want Padme to live. And I want everyone who ever doubted me, everyone who ever held me back, to know that I was right. The Jedi were wrong. The Council was wrong. And you were wrong. He brings his lightsaber down, but at the last moment, he twists the blade. Instead of a killing blow that would end Obi-Wan's life, it slashes across his shoulder, severing tendons and nerves. Obi-Wan screams as his arm goes limp, his body collapsing onto the hot stone. The pain is blinding, overwhelming. He cannot move. He can barely breathe. All he can do is lie there as Anakin stands over him. No. Death would be too easy for you. You're going to live, Obi-Wan. You're going to live knowing that you failed. That I became everything you feared, and there was nothing you could do to stop it. You're going to watch as I bring order to the galaxy, as I save Padme, as I become more powerful than any Jedi who ever lived. And you're going to know that you could have been part of it, if only you had believed in me. He deactivates his lightsaber and turns away, leaving Obi-Wan bleeding on the volcanic shore. The Jedi Master tries to call out, tries to say something, anything, but the words won't come. All he can do is watch as Anakin walks away, his black cloak billowing in the superheated wind, the chosen one lost to the darkness. And this time, there is no hope that the fires of Mustafar will temper him into something that can one day be redeemed. This Anakin is whole. This Anakin is unbroken. He retains every ounce of his prodigious power, every trace of his supernatural reflexes, every shred of his connection to the Force, and that makes him far more dangerous than any half-machine Sith Lord could ever be. Anakin races back to the landing platform where he left Padme. His heart pounds in his chest, each beat driving him faster across the volcanic landscape. He leaps over rivers of lava, uses the Force to propel himself across chasms, moves with desperate speed toward the woman he loves, the woman he turned to the dark side to save. When he reaches the platform, his heart nearly stops. Padme lies there, motionless on the ground where she fell after he choked her. Her skin is pale, her lips slightly blue, her chest barely rising with each shallow breath. The memory of that moment cuts through his rage like a blade of ice. He hurt her. He who swore to protect her, who turned to the dark side to save her, hurt her with his own hands. He drops to his knees beside her, gathering her in his arms. Padme, please. Wake up, look at me. His voice cracks as he reaches out with the Force, feeling for her life signature. It's there, faint but present, flickering like a candle in a storm. And there's something else. The babies. He can feel them too, two distinct presences in the Force, strong and bright despite the chaos around them. Twins. He's going to be the father of twins. They're all alive, but barely. He needs to get them to medical care. Now he carries Padme to his ship, laying her gently in the passenger compartment. His hands shake as he powers up the engines and lifts off from Mustafar, leaving the burning world behind. As he breaks through the atmosphere, the stars stretching out before him like diamonds on black velvet, he opens a communication channel. Master. The word still feels strange, alien. But Palpatine has earned it. Palpatine saved him when no one else would. Palpatine's voice crackles through the speakers, warm and welcoming despite the static. Lord Vader, I sense your victory. Obi-Wan Kenobi has fallen. He has, Anakin confirms, the new name still strange on his lips. But Padme's injured. She needs medical attention immediately. I'm bringing her to you. There's a brief pause. A moment of silence that stretches just a beat too long. Of course, my apprentice. I will have the finest medical droids prepared for her arrival. Bring her to the facility on Coruscant. We will ensure that she and your children survive. Your children. The words send a chill down Anakin's spine. How does Palpatine know about the children? More specifically, how does he know there's more than one? Anakin never told him there were twins. But he pushes the thought aside. It doesn't matter now. Palpatine is powerful in the Force. Perhaps he sensed it. Perhaps he simply knows things that others don't. All that matters is saving Padme Acute He punches in the coordinates and jumps to hyperspace, the stars stretching into lines around him. As the ship hurtles through the blue-white tunnel of faster-than-light travel, Anakin sits beside Padme, holding her hand. He reaches out with the Force, trying to lend her his strength, willing her to hold on just a little longer. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I couldn't lose you. I couldn't bear the thought of a life without you. Everything I did for us. For our family." She doesn't respond. She can't respond. But Anakin feels her life signature stabilize slightly, feels the twins' presence grow just a little stronger. Maybe she can hear him. Maybe somehow she knows. On Coruscant, the medical facility is a marvel of Imperial technology. Gleaming white walls stretch toward impossibly high ceilings. State-of-the-art equipment fills every room, monitoring every vital sign, prepared for any emergency. An army of medical droids stands ready, their programming containing the sum total of galactic medical knowledge. This facility was built by Palpatine himself, intended to extend his own life indefinitely. Now it serves a different purpose. Anakin carries Padme inside, his face a mask of grim determination. His arms don't tremble despite how long he's been holding her, despite the exhaustion of the battle with Obi-Wan. He would carry her across the galaxy if he had to. He would carry her until his heart gave out. The droids take over immediately, whisking her away to the operating theater on a hovering gurney. Anakin tries to follow, but a hand on his shoulder stops him. Palpatine stands beside him, his face a picture of fatherly concern. "You must let them work. Lord Vader, Padme's in good hands. The finest medical minds in the galaxy will attend to her. Come, walk with me while we wait." Anakin wants to refuse. Every fiber of his being wants to stay by Padme's side, to use the Force to will her back to health if necessary. But he knows that hovering over the droids won't help her. And there are things he needs to discuss with his new master. Things about what happened on Mustafar. Things about what comes next. He falls into step beside Palpatine, and they walk through the gleaming corridors of the facility. The Emperor, for that is what he is now, moves with a dignified grace that belies his advanced years. His robes sweep the floor behind him, dark and rich, fit for a ruler of the galaxy. "You have done well, my apprentice," Palpatine says, his voice smooth as silk. "The Jedi are scattered, their order broken. Their temple burns even now, purged of their corruption. Kenobi was their last hope, and you have defeated him. The Republic is no more. In its place rises the Galactic Empire, and you stand at my right hand. I left Kenobi alive." Anakin isn't sure why he says it. Perhaps he wants to see how Palpatine reacts. Perhaps he wants to gauge whether he made the right decision. A flicker of surprise crosses Palpatine's face, quickly masked behind a benevolent smile. "Did you? How merciful. I would not have expected such restraint." "That it wasn't mercy," Anakin says flatly. "Death would have been a release. I wanted him to suffer, to live with his failure, to know that everything he believed in was wrong." He pauses. Was that a mistake? Palpatine considers for a moment. "No, I think not. One wounded Jedi poses little threat to our new empire. Let him crawl away to some forgotten corner of the galaxy and spend the rest of his days in misery. What matters now is securing your place at my side. Together, we will bring order to the chaos that has engulfed the galaxy." Anakin nods, but something nags at him. A question that has been building since the moment he pledged himself to the Sith. Kneeling in Palpatine's office with the bodies of Jedi Masters cooling around them. "Master, on Mustafar, before I fought Obi-Wan, I felt something. When I confronted Padme, I hurt her. I didn't mean to, but the rage just took over. I couldn't control it." He trails off, unable to finish the sentence. Unable to admit how much it frightens him, how close he came to killing the woman he sacrificed everything to save. Palpatine's expression shifts, becoming grave and understanding. The dark side is powerful, Lord Vader. More powerful than you can imagine. It feeds on emotion, on passion, on the raw intensity of feeling. Sometimes in moments of great intensity, that power can be difficult to control. It can overwhelm even the strongest minds. But you will learn. With time and training, you will master your emotions rather than being mastered by them. And what of Padme? Anakin asks, Will she understand? Will she forgive me for what I did? Palpatine places a hand on Anakin's shoulder. Senator Amidala is a remarkable woman. She has weathered countless storms, faced down armies and assassins, navigated the treacherous waters of galactic politics. She loves you deeply, Lord Vader. I have no doubt that in time, she will come to see that everything you did for her. For your family. That is what matters now. Your family. Nothing else. They continue walking, and Anakin feels some of the tension leave his shoulders. Palpatine is right. Everything he did was for Padme, for the children. She will understand. She has to understand. She's always understood him, seen him for who he really is. When everyone else saw only what they wanted to see, he glances at the doors to the operating theater as they pass, feeling the faint pulse of Padme's life signature through the Force. Stronger now. Much stronger. The droids are doing their work. She's going to survive. They're all going to survive. And together, they will build a new life in this new empire. Hours later, the lead medical droid emerges from the operating theater. Its mechanical voice carries no emotion, but the news it brings makes Anakin's heart soar. Senator Amidala is stable. The damage from the trauma was significant. There was severe bruising to her trachea and surrounding tissue, and the oxygen deprivation caused temporary strain on her cardiac system. However, we were able to repair the damage. She will need time to recover, but she will make a full physical recovery. Anakin closes his eyes, relief washing over him like a wave. And the children? Delivered successfully. A boy and a girl, both healthy. Birth weight is slightly below average due to the premature delivery, but all vital signs are strong. They are with the senator now. Anakin pushes past the droid, rushing into the medical chamber. Padme lies on the bed, pale and exhausted but alive. Her dark hair spreads across the pillow, her chest rising and falling with steady breaths. In her arms, wrapped in soft white blankets, are two tiny bundles. Two perfect, precious lives that he helped create. She looks up as Anakin enters. And for a moment, something cold flashes in her eyes. Fear, anger, betrayal, the memory of his hands around her throat. The pressure building, the world going dark. She remembers. Of course she remembers. But then she sees the desperation on his face, the tears streaming down his cheeks, the raw vulnerability that he shows to no one else. And her expression softens. Anakin, he crosses to her side, falling to his knees beside the bed. Padme, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Padme's silent for a long moment, looking down at the babies in her arms. They're so small, so perfect. 10 tiny fingers on each hand, 10 tiny toes on each foot. Their eyes are closed in peaceful sleep, unaware of the chaos that surrounds their entry into the galaxy. They're beautiful, she finally says. A boy and a girl. I want to name the boy Luke after my grandfather. And the girl Leia. The names hit Anakin like a thunderbolt. Perfect names for perfect children. His children. Their children. He reaches out with a trembling hand, gently touching Luke's tiny fingers. The baby's hand wraps around his finger, a grip surprisingly strong for something so small. And Anakin feels something he hasn't felt since before all of this began. Before the war, before the darkness, before the terrible choices that led him here. But when he looks up at Padme, He sees that her expression has hardened again. The warmth has retreated, replaced by something colder, sadder. What you did, Anakin. What you've become. I don't know if I can forgive you. She speaks quietly, not wanting to wake the babies, but her words carry the weight of the galaxy. Anakin's brow furrows. What do you mean? Everything I did was for you. For them. You killed children, Padme says, her voice breaking. Younglings. Children who had done nothing wrong, who posed no threat to anyone. I felt it through the Force, Anakin. I don't know how, but I felt it. The terror. The betrayal. The moment when they realized their hero had come to murder them. I know what you did. The words hit Anakin like a physical blow. He pulls his hand back from Luke's grasp, his face going pale. They had to die. They were Jedi. They would have grown up to oppose the Empire, to threaten everything we're building. They were children, Padme repeats. And you cut them down without mercy. I did what I had to do, Anakin insists, his voice hardening. To save you. To save our family. Everything I did for us. That's what you keep saying, Padme says quietly. But I never asked you to become a monster, Anakin. I never asked you to burn the galaxy to save me. I would rather have died than see you become this. The words cut deeper than any lightsaber ever could. Deeper than Obi-Wan's betrayal, deeper than the Council's rejection, deeper than anything he has ever felt. Because they come from her. From the woman he loves. The woman he sacrificed everything for. Anakin pulls back, his face going cold, his walls coming up. Then you don't understand, he says, his voice hard and flat. You don't understand what I've sacrificed. What I've given up. I've lost everything. My friends. My master. The Jedi Order, my identity. I gave it all up for you. And you would throw it in my face? Padme doesn't flinch. What you gave up for yourself. For your fear. Not for me. I loved you, Anakin. I still love you, even now, even after everything. But I don't know the man standing in front of me. The Anakin I fell in love with, the boy from Tatooine who dreamed of freeing the slaves, who wanted to help people, who believed in justice and compassion. He would never have done the things you've done. They stare at each other. A chasm of silence between them. Luke stirs in Padme's arms, making the soft sound, and she automatically adjusts her hold to comfort him. The simple, natural gesture of a mother caring for her child. Then Anakin stands, his expression unreadable. Rest, recover. When you're stronger, we'll talk about our future. Our children's future. He pauses at the door, looking back at her. There is still good in me, Padme. And one day, I'll prove it to you. He turns and walks out of the medical chamber, leaving Padme alone with their newborn children. She looks down at Luke and Leia, tears streaming down her face. I hope you're right, Anakin, she whispers. For all our sakes, I hope you're right. In the weeks that follow, the galaxy transforms. The Republic becomes the Empire in a ceremony broadcast to every world. And Emperor Palpatine's rule extends to every corner of the known galaxy. The Senate continues to exist, but its power is a shadow of what it once was. Real power rests with the Emperor and his enforcer. The Jedi are hunted down and exterminated with ruthless efficiency. Order 66 claims countless lives as clone troopers turn on their generals, as friends become executioners without warning or mercy. Those who survive the initial purge find themselves running, hiding, fighting against impossible odds. Their temples are burned, their libraries destroyed, their legacy erased from the galaxy's memory. And at the Emperor's right hand stands Darth Vader, the most feared enforcer in the galaxy. But this Vader is different from the one the galaxy might have known. He does not wear a mask. He does not need a suit of life-supporting armor. He walks among the people with his face bare, his body whole, his power undiminished. This makes him more terrifying, not less. The Vader who might have been, the half-machine monster in the black suit, was a figure of dread precisely because he was inhuman. People could distance themselves from that creature, could see him as something other, something apart from themselves. But this Vader is a man. A man who can walk into any room, blend into any crowd, and strike without warning. A man who can look into your eyes as he ends your life. A man who could be anyone's neighbor, anyone's friend. Until suddenly he isn't. The galaxy learns to fear him in a way it never would have feared the masked monster he might have become. Anakin embraces his role as Vader with ruthless efficiency. He hunts down surviving Jedi across the galaxy, tracking them through the Force, finding them wherever they hide. He can feel them, these remnants of the old order, like candle flames flickering in the darkness. Each one calls to him, draws him closer, until he arrives to snuff them out. His first major hunt takes him to the forest of Kashyyyk, where a Jedi Knight named Kirak Infilla has been organizing resistance among the Wookiees. The forest world is dense and treacherous, full of predators both natural and trained. But Anakin moves through it like a ghost, his senses extended through the Force. Tracking his prey with patience born of years of war, he finds Infilla in a clearing near a Wookiee village, teaching younglings the basics of lightsaber combat. The sight sends a chill through Anakin, reminding him of what he did in the temple. But he pushes the feeling aside. These children, if allowed to grow, would become threats to the Empire. Threats to his family. They have to die. The battle is brief and brutal. Infilla is skilled, but he's no match for the Chosen One. Anakin cuts through his defenses in moments, leaving the Jedi bleeding on the forest floor. The younglings scatter, but Anakin lets them go. He's not sure why. Perhaps some fragment of conscience remains. Perhaps he simply can't bring himself to murder more children. Other hunts follow. On Felucia, he corners a group of Padawans who escaped the temple during the Purge. On Utapau, he eliminates a Jedi Master who has been feeding information to emerging resistance cells. On Coruscant itself, he roots out Jedi sympathizers who have been hiding survivors in the lower levels. Each mission hardens him. Each kill dulls his conscience a little more. He tells himself it's necessary, that he's protecting the galaxy, protecting his family. But late at night, when Padme sleeps beside him, he stares at the ceiling and wonders if he's become everything he once swore to destroy. Some he kills quickly, offering them a mercy they do not expect. A clean death, a moment of peace, an end to the running and the fear. These are the Jedi who face him with acceptance, who have made their peace with the Force, who die with dignity. Others he takes alive, bringing them back to Coruscant for interrogation and eventual execution. These are the stubborn ones, the defiant ones, the ones who have information about other survivors. From them, he extracts every secret, every name, every hidden location. And then he disposes of them. Each Jedi he eliminates is another step toward securing the Empire, another threat to his family removed. That is how he justifies it. That is how he sleeps at night. Every death is necessary. Every kill brings the galaxy closer to the peace and order it desperately needs. But even as he performs his duties, Anakin cannot escape the nagging doubt that has taken root in his mind. Palpatine watches him constantly, he realizes. The Emperor's spies are everywhere, reporting on his movements, his conversations, even his private moments with Padme and the children. At first, Anakin dismisses this as simple caution. A wise ruler must be vigilant. The Emperor is protecting against potential threats, ensuring that his apprentice remains loyal. Such measures are reasonable, even expected, in a galaxy so recently torn by war. But as the months pass, the surveillance becomes more intrusive, more suffocating. Anakin discovers hidden cameras in his quarters, listening devices in his children's nursery, informants among his own staff. Every aspect of his life is monitored, analyzed, recorded for the Emperor's review. He confronts Palpatine about it once, in the early days. The Emperor waves away his concerns with that familiar, patronizing smile. "Surely you understand, Lord Vader. In these uncertain times, vigilance is paramount. There are those who would exploit any weakness, any vulnerability. The surveillance is for your protection, not your imprisonment. I only wish to keep you and your family safe." The words sound reasonable. They always do. Palpatine has a gift for making even the most invasive control seem like benevolent care. But Anakin isn't a foolish boy anymore. He knows manipulation when he sees it. He begins testing the limits of his leash. He meets with military officers without informing Palpatine first. He travels to worlds outside his assigned missions. The children grow quickly, as children do. Luke is kind and curious, always asking questions, always wanting to understand how things work. He has his mother's warmth and his father's mechanical aptitude, spending hours tinkering with droids and machines. His connection to the Force manifests early, a gentle awareness of the living things around him that fills him with wonder rather than fear. Leia is fierce and stubborn, with a sharp tongue and sharper instincts. She takes after Padmen in temperament, but Anakin sees his own fire in her eyes, his own determination, his own refusal to accept limitations. She challenges everything, questions everyone, and has opinions on subjects most adults barely understand. Together, they are everything Anakin ever wanted, everything he turned to the dark side to protect. But Palpatine watches them too. The Emperor makes no secret of his interest in the Skywalker twins. He visits them regularly, bringing gifts and praise, studying them with those calculating yellow eyes. He speaks of their potential, their power, the great destiny that awaits them. Each time he leaves, Padme holds her children a little tighter. And Anakin feels something cold settle in his chest. Years pass. Luke and Leia grow from infants to toddlers to children. They are 5 years old when Anakin first notices Palpatine's attention becoming something more sinister. The Emperor begins requesting private audiences with the twins, wanting to test their Force sensitivity without their parents present. He speaks of beginning their formal training, of shaping them into the future of the Sith. Anakin refuses at first, citing their age, their need for stability, the importance of letting them develop naturally before imposing structured training. Palpatine accepts his excuses with grace, but there is something in his smile that makes Anakin's blood run cold. A patience that speaks of plans within plans, of moves being prepared many steps in advance. You are protective of them, Palpatine observes one evening as they walk through the Imperial Palace. That is admirable, Lord Vader. A father should protect his children. It is only natural. Only right. They are my legacy, Anakin replies carefully. My future. I want to ensure they develop properly before subjecting them to the rigors of Sith training. Indeed, Palpatine agrees. But they are also the future of the Sith, Lord Vader. Their power is considerable, even now. I can feel it radiating from them like heat from a sun. In time, properly trained, they could become the greatest Sith Lords the galaxy has ever known. Greater even than you. Greater even than me. Anakin stops walking. His hand moves unconsciously toward his lightsaber before he forces himself to relax. With respect, Master, I have not yet decided what path my children will follow. They are young. There is time to determine their destiny. Palpatine turns to face him, his expression mild but his eyes sharp as vibroblades. Of course, I did not mean to presume. I merely wish to offer my guidance, my wisdom. After all, I have trained one Skywalker already. I would be honored to train another. Or two. The words are soft, but the implication is clear. Palpatine wants Luke and Leia. He wants to take them from Anakin, to mold them into weapons, to use them as he has used Anakin himself. And in that moment, standing in the gleaming corridors of the Imperial Palace, Anakin feels something he hasn't felt in years. Clarity. A cold, terrible clarity that cuts through the fog of darkness like a blade. He has been blind. So blind, so foolish, so willing to believe what he wanted to believe. Palpatine never cared about him. Never cared about saving Padme. The Emperor cared only about power, about having the chosen one under his control. And now, with Anakin proving more independent than expected, more difficult to manipulate, Palpatine is looking for replacements. For new pawns. For fresh blood. Anakin forces his expression to remain neutral. Of course, Master. Your guidance is always welcome. I will consider your offer carefully. Shall we continue our walk? Palpatine smiles that serpentine smile and gestures for Anakin to proceed. They walk in silence, but Anakin's mind is racing. He needs time. Time to plan, to prepare. Time to figure out how to protect his family from the monster he has served. The monster he helped create. That night, Anakin returns to his quarters to find Padme waiting for him. She sits by the window, looking out at the endless cityscape of Coruscant, her face illuminated by the glow of a million lights. She doesn't turn as he enters, but she speaks. You felt it too. The way he looked at them. The way he talked about their power. He wants them, Anakin. He wants our children. Anakin closes the door behind him, sealing them off from prying ears and eyes. He activates a jamming device that he built himself, one of the few secrets he has managed to keep from the Emperor's surveillance. Yes, I felt it. She turns then, and he sees the fear in her eyes. The same fear that has haunted her since the day he became Darth Vader. But there is something else there. Now determination, resolve, the same steel that made her a queen at 14 and a senator before. She was 20. What are we going to do, Anakin? We can't let him take our children. We can't let him turn them into monsters. We won't, Anakin says, crossing to her side. I won't let him touch them. But I need time. Palpatine is powerful, more powerful than I am in the ways of the dark side. If I move against him now, before I'm ready, we all die. Padme studies his face, searching for something. And you would move against him? After everything you've done in his name? All the Jedi you've killed, all the worlds you've terrorized. You would turn against your master? Anakin meets her gaze, unflinching. I turn to the dark side to protect my family. I will do whatever it takes to continue protecting them. Even if that means destroying the empire I helped build. Even if it means killing the man who made me what I am. For a long moment, Padme says nothing. She searches his face, looking for deception, for weakness, for any sign that this is another manipulation. And she finds something she hasn't seen in years. Sincerity. The same sincerity she saw in a boy on Tatooine who swore he would come back and free his mother. Then she reaches out and takes his hand. It's the first time she has touched him willingly in years. The first time since Mustafar. Then we do this together, she says. Whatever happens, we do this together. The way it should have been from the beginning. Anakin squeezes her hand, and for the first time since Mustafar, he feels like Anakin Skywalker instead of Darth Vader, the man Padme fell in love with. The man he thought he had killed. Together, he agrees. Always together. The years that follow are a careful dance of deception and preparation. Outwardly, Anakin remains Palpatine's loyal enforcer. He continues to hunt Jedi, to crush rebellions, to spread fear across the galaxy in the Emperor's name. He plays his role perfectly, never giving the slightest hint of his true intentions. But in secret, he begins to plan. He cultivates allies within the Imperial military. Men and women who are loyal to him personally rather than to Palpatine. Officers who have seen the Emperor's cruelty firsthand. Soldiers who joined the Empire to bring order, not to serve a tyrant. Slowly, carefully, he builds a network of supporters who will stand with him when the time comes. He studies the Emperor's weaknesses, his habits, his defenses. He learns the layout of the Imperial Palace, every entrance and exit, every security measure, every blind spot in the surveillance systems. He identifies the royal guards most loyal to Palpatine and those who might be swayed to another master. He trains in secret, pushing his Force abilities to their limits and beyond. Without the constant agony that the suit would have caused, without the physical limitations of mechanical limbs, he is able to explore aspects of the Force that would otherwise have been closed to him. He grows stronger, more skilled, more dangerous. Padme plays her own role in the conspiracy. She reaches out to her old contacts in the Senate, to the resistance movements that are beginning to form in the shadows of the Empire. Men and women who remember the Republic, who long for freedom, who are willing to risk everything for a chance at a better future. She becomes a conduit of information, passing intelligence to those who would oppose Palpatine's rule while maintaining her cover as a loyal Imperial consort. It is dangerous work. If she is discovered, she will be executed as a traitor. But Padme has never shied away from danger when the cause is just, and the children grow. Luke and Leia know nothing of their parents' secret war. They are raised in luxury, surrounded by servants and guards, educated by the finest tutors the Empire can provide. They want for nothing material, but they also receive secret lessons from their mother, lessons about compassion and justice, about the value of every sentient life, and from their father. They learn about the Force. Not the dark side teachings Palpatine would give them, but something else. Something that even Anakin doesn't fully understand, because the truth is, Anakin's relationship with the Force has changed. The dark side still calls to him, still fuels his power in battle, still whispers temptations in his ear. But it no longer controls him the way it once did, without the constant agony of burned flesh and mechanical breathing. Without the suit that isolated him from the world, Anakin has been able to think clearly for the first time since Mustafar. He has had time to reflect on what he has done, what he has become. And while he cannot undo the past, he can choose a different future. He begins to explore the Force in ways the Jedi never taught him. He studies ancient texts, both Jedi and Sith, seeking understanding rather than power. He discovers that the dark side and the light are not opposites to be chosen between, but aspects of the same fundamental energy. That one can draw on both without being consumed by either. If one maintains the proper balance. It is a dangerous path, one that would horrify both Jedi and Sith alike. The Jedi would call it corruption. The Sith would call it weakness. But it is his path. The path of the chosen one. Luke and Leia take to their Force training with remarkable aptitude. Luke favors subtlety and precision, his connection to the living Force, allowing him to sense emotions and intentions with uncanny accuracy. He can feel the suffering of others, can sense their needs, can offer comfort without speaking a word. From his earliest days, Luke showed a sensitivity that sometimes worried Anakin. The boy would cry when servants were distressed, would sense illness in people before they showed symptoms, would know when his parents had argued, even when they tried to hide it. His empathy was so strong that Anakin sometimes had to shield him from the raw emotions of the Imperial court. But as Luke grew older, he learned to control this gift. He developed mental shields that let him function in crowded rooms without being overwhelmed. He learned to reach out selectively, to focus his awareness on individuals rather than drowning in the emotional noise of crowds. When he was 7, Luke healed a bird with a broken wing purely through Force instinct. When he was 9, he calmed a riot in the lower levels simply by projecting peace and understanding. By the time he was 12, he was assisting in the Imperial medical facilities, using his abilities to diagnose conditions that medical droids couldn't detect. Leia is more direct, her power manifesting in bursts of telekinetic force that leave Anakin both proud and slightly concerned. She has his fire, his passion, his refusal to accept limitations. But she also has her mother's wisdom, her ability to channel her emotions rather than being controlled by them. Where Luke heals, Leia commands. Her presence in a room is impossible to ignore. Even as a small child, she could bend adults to her will with nothing more than a look and a carefully chosen word. Her Force abilities amplified this natural charisma, giving her an almost supernatural persuasiveness. But Leia's greatest gift is her tactical mind. She can see patterns that others miss, can predict how situations will unfold, can plan 10 moves ahead while her opponents are still considering their first. Anakin sees himself in her strategic brilliance, but refined, sharpened, tempered by Padme's patience and wisdom when she was 8. Leia correctly predicted the outcome of a complex Senate vote that had left political analysts baffled. When she was 10, she solved a trade dispute that had dragged on for months by identifying a compromise no one else had considered. By 12, she was sitting in on Imperial Council meetings, her insights valued even by the most experienced advisors. Both children share one crucial trait: compassion. Despite being raised in the heart of the Empire, despite everything they have witnessed, they retain an innocence that gives Anakin hope. Perhaps he thinks they will be better than him. Perhaps they will succeed where he failed. Palpatine notices their progress, of course. The Emperor makes increasingly insistent demands to oversee their training personally. He speaks of advanced techniques, of secrets known only to the Sith, of power that Anakin cannot teach them. Anakin deflects these requests with ever more creative excuses. The children are not ready. They need more foundational work. Their temperaments require a gentle approach that would be disrupted by introducing new teachers, but he knows he cannot stall forever. The confrontation is coming. It is only a matter of when. The moment arrives on Luke and Leia's 10th birthday. Palpatine summons Anakin to the throne room, his face a mask of benevolent concern. But his eyes tell a different story. Cold, calculating, patient no longer. Lord Vader, I have tolerated your independence regarding your children's education for far too long. The time has come for them to receive proper instruction in the ways of the Sith. You will bring them to me tomorrow morning. This is not a request. Anakin bows his head, keeping his expression carefully neutral. Of course, Master. I will inform them immediately. But as he turns to leave, Palpatine's voice stops him, cold, sharp, no longer pretending. And Lord Vader? Do not think I am unaware of your activities these past years. Your secret meetings with military officers. Your wife's communications with rebel sympathizers. Your unorthodox approach to Force training, drawing on both light and dark as if you could somehow transcend the ancient divisions. I have watched. I have waited. And now I have grown tired of waiting. Anakin turns back, and for the first time in years, he lets the mask slip. He lets Palpatine see what lies beneath. Not the obedient servant, not the loyal apprentice, but the predator waiting for its moment to strike. Then perhaps, Anakin says, his voice cold as the void of space, we should stop pretending. The throne room erupts into chaos. Palpatine's royal guards surge forward from their positions along the walls, their force pikes crackling with deadly energy. They move with perfect coordination, the result of years of intensive training, each one a killing machine in crimson armor. There are at least 30 of them, the Emperor's finest, men who have dedicated their lives to protecting their master. But Anakin is already moving. His lightsaber ignites in a flash of blue. Not the red blade of a Sith, but the weapon of a Jedi. He has carried this blade in secret for years, hidden from Palpatine's surveillance, a reminder of the man he once was, the man he might be again. Now it sings as he cuts through the guards like a scythe, through wheat. The first guard falls before he even reaches Anakin. The Force hurls him across the room, his neck snapping against a pillar with a sound like breaking stone. The second and third attack together, their pikes thrusting in perfect coordination. They have practiced this maneuver 1,000 times, defeating countless training droids and sparring partners. But Anakin parries both strikes with a single sweep of his blade, then spins, his lightsaber carving through their armor as if it were paper. They drop in smoking heaps. A fourth guard comes from behind, his pike aimed at Anakin's spine. But Anakin is already turning, already moving, his blade sweeping up in an arc that takes the man's head clean off. A fifth and sixth attack together, trying to flank him, but Anakin leaps over their coordinated strike, landing behind them and cutting them both down in a single sweep. More guards pour through the doors. A dozen, 2 dozen. They come from every entrance, surrounding him, their pikes forming a ring of crackling death. For a moment, they hesitate. They have never seen anyone move the way Anakin moves. They have never faced anything like him. Anakin smiles. A cold, dangerous smile. He wades into them without hesitation. He is a storm of blue light and deadly precision, his blade finding every gap in their armor, his force power scattering them like leaves in a hurricane. They attack from all sides, but he is everywhere at once, blocking, striking, killing. A guard thrusts at his chest. Anakin sidesteps, grabs the man's arm, and redirects the pike into another guard's throat. 2 more attack from opposite directions. Anakin drops into a split, letting their strikes pass over his head, then sweeps their legs out from under them and finishes them both with downward thrusts. 3 guards launch themselves at him simultaneously, their pikes crackling with maximum power. Anakin reaches out with the Force and stops them in midair, holding them suspended for just a moment before hurling them through the throne room's great windows. Glass shatters. Men scream. The night air rushes in, cold and sharp-dotted. Is not a battle. It is a demonstration. A message to Palpati. This is what I am. This is what I have always been. And you were a fool to think you could control me. In moments, the guards are dead. 30 of the Emperor's finest warriors, men who would have been a match for any ordinary Jedi, lie broken and scattered across the throne room floor. Anakin stands amid their bodies, his lightsaber humming, his breath steady. Not even winded. Not even close. He looks up at the throne, where Palpatine sits watching with an expression of mild disappointment, as if Anakin were a student who had failed to grasp an obvious lesson. Impressive, the Emperor says. I always knew you had potential, Anakin. Such raw power. Such ferocity. Such a shame you've chosen to waste it on sentiment. No more games, Anakin says, advancing toward the throne. No more manipulation. No more lies. This ends today. One of us walks out of this room. The other doesn't. Palpatine rises from his throne, his movements slow and deliberate. His lightsaber slides from his sleeve, igniting with a snap hiss of crimson light. The blade casts his face in bloody shadows, revealing the monster that has always lurked beneath the kindly mask. Very well. If you insist on dying, I shall oblige you. But know this, Anakin. I made you. Everything you are, everything you have, you owe to me. I found you as a slave and made you a Jedi. I found you as a Jedi and made you a Sith. And when you are dead, I will take your children and make them everything you failed to be. The words ignite a fury in Anakin that he has not felt since Mustafar. The same all-consuming rage that nearly drove him to destroy everything he loved. But this time, instead of letting the rage consume him, he channels it. Their lightsabers blur as they exchange blows, neither able to gain the upper hand. Anakin presses forward, using his superior strength and speed. But Palpatine's technique is flawless, turning aside every attack. Finding counters that Anakin barely blocks, Palpatine's Sith lightning crackles toward Anakin. But he catches it on his blade, absorbing the energy and redirecting it back. The Emperor barely deflects his own attack, his eyes widening in surprise that you have learned new tricks. I see, impressive, but tricks will not save you. I've learned more than tricks, Anakin replies. I've learned the truth. About the Force. About the Sith. About you. You're not a master of the dark side, Palpatine. You're a slave to it. Just like you tried to make me. Palpatine's face twists with rage, the mask of benevolence finally crumbling. Insolent boy. I have spent a lifetime mastering powers you cannot comprehend. I have seen the dark side of the Force at its purest, felt its true potential. You are nothing. A tool to be used and discarded. And I will enjoy watching you die. He attacks with renewed fury, his lightsaber becoming a blur of crimson death. The attacks come faster than any human should be able to move, enhanced by the full power of the dark side. Anakin is forced back, his defenses straining under the onslaught. For a moment, it seems as if he will fall, but he is not alone. He reaches out through the Force, past the walls of the palace, past the guards and the servants, and the endless machinery of the Empire. He reaches for two bright lights in the Force, two beacons of hope and power that he has nurtured for a decade. And they answer. The doors to the throne room burst open. Luke and Leia Skywalker stand in the entrance, their own lightsabers ignited. Luke's blade glows green, Leia's a brilliant white. They have come. Against his orders, against all reason, against every instinct of self-preservation, they have come to stand beside their father. No, Anakin gasps. Get out of here. Run. We're not leaving you, Luke says, his voice steady despite the fear in his eyes. We're a family. We fight together. That's what you taught us. Palpatine laughs, a cold, cruel sound that echoes through the throne room. How touching. The cubs have come to die with their father. Very well, I will kill you all and start fresh. Perhaps I will find more obedient apprentices among the next generation. He raises hand, and lightning erupts toward the children. Blue-white fire that has killed Jedi Masters, that has ended countless lives, that carries the full fury of the dark side. But Leia is ready. She throws up her own hand, catching the lightning on a barrier of pure Force energy. The attack splashes against her shield, dissipating harmlessly. Her face is set with determination, her power blazing like a star. You're not touching my family, she says. Palpatine's eyes narrow, impressive. But you are still children. You cannot hope to defeat me. He hurls more lightning, this time splitting it between all three Skywalkers. Luke and Leia block their portions, but the attack aimed at Anakin breaks through his guard. He staggers, pain lancing through his body. For a moment, he sees his own death. Sees Palpatine standing over his body. Sees his children dragged away to become the Emperor's new puppets. But then he feels them. Luke and Leia, reaching out through the Force, lending him their strength. And Padme, somewhere in the palace, her love and faith washing over him like a wave. He is not alone. He has never been alone. That was the lie Palpatine told him all those years ago, the lie that led him to the dark side. And now at last he sees through it. Anakin rises. The lightning still courses through him, but he is no longer fighting it. He is absorbing it, drawing it into himself, combining it with his own power, with the love of his family, with the hope of everyone who has ever believed in him. He becomes a conduit for something greater than the dark side or the light. Something that transcends both, the Force itself. He thrusts his hand forward, and the energy explodes outward. It hits Palpatine like a tidal wave, lifting him off his feet and slamming him against the back of his throne. The ancient Sith Lord screams as his own power is turned against him, as the darkness he has cultivated for so long is burned away by pure, undiluted Force energy. When the light fades, Palpatine lies crumpled at the base of his throne. He is still alive, but barely. His skin is charred, his robes smoldering, his eyes filled with disbelief and fear. For the first time in decades, he faces something he cannot manipulate, cannot control, cannot escape. How? He croaks. How is this possible? You were supposed to be my weapon. My slave, my creation. The chosen one, chosen to serve me. Anakin stands over him, his lightsaber raised. You were wrong about me. You were wrong about everything. I am not your creation. I am the chosen one, and my destiny was never to serve the Sith. It was to destroy them. He brings his blade down. The Emperor's head rolls across the marble floor. Coming to rest at the base of the throne he will never occupy again. For a long moment, there is silence. The only sound is the crackle of small fires burning around the throne room, remnants of the battle's fury. Then Luke and Leia rush to their father's side, wrapping their arms around him. They are crying, laughing, trembling with relief and exhaustion. Anakin holds them close, feeling their hearts beat against his chest. Feeling the warmth of their love. It's over, he whispers. It's finally over. The doors burst open again, and Padme rushes in, her face pale with worry. She stops short at the sight before her. The dead guards, the burning throne room, her husband and children embracing amid the destruction, and the Emperor's body, lying lifeless on the floor. Anakin, she breathes. Did you? Is it? Anakin looks up at her, and for the first time in a decade, she sees something she thought was gone forever. Peace, hope, the man she fell in love with. Looking back at her from behind those eyes. It's done, he says. He's gone. We're free. Padme crosses to them, joining the embrace. The Skywalker family, together at last, surrounded by the wreckage of an empire. But even as he holds his family close, Anakin knows that this is not the end. It is only the beginning. The Emperor is dead, but the Empire remains. There is still work to be done, wounds to heal, a galaxy to rebuild. But for now, in this moment, he allows himself to hope. The darkness that has haunted him for so long has lifted. And for the first time in years, he can see the path forward clearly. In the days that follow, the galaxy holds its breath. News of Palpatine's death spreads like wildfire, carried by holonets and whispered in cantinas across 1,000 worlds. Some celebrate, dancing in the streets, tearing down Imperial banners. Others panic, hoarding supplies, preparing for the chaos they're certain will follow. And many simply wait, uncertain what this new dawn will bring. Anakin moves quickly to secure his position. His allies in the military move to arrest Palpatine's most loyal supporters, neutralizing potential threats before they can organize. Without the Emperor's guiding hand, the most fanatical Imperials find themselves isolated and leaderless. Most surrender without a fight. Padme reaches out to her contacts in the Resistance, assuring them that change is coming, that the oppression of the past decade is ending, that they need not fear the future. And the children, Luke and Leia, stand beside their father as he addresses the Imperial Senate. Their presence a promise of a different future. I have killed the Emperor, Anakin announces, his voice echoing through the great chamber. The senators sit in stunned silence, their faces a mix of fear and hope and calculated assessment. I did not do this for power. Not for revenge. Not for personal gain. I did it because his rule was built on lies and oppression, on the suffering of trillions across this galaxy. I helped build this empire. I enforced its laws. I committed terrible acts in its name. I cannot undo what I have done, but I can choose to do better. And I ask you, all of you, to join me. The Senate erupts in chaos. Some senators denounce Anakin as a murderer, a traitor, a man who has simply replaced one tyrant with another. Others praise him as a liberator, a hero, the galaxy's best hope for a better future. Most simply watch and wait, calculating how this shift in power will affect their own positions. But in the end, the math is simple. Anakin controls the military. Anakin has the power to crush any opposition. The choice is between cooperation and destruction. Most choose cooperation. The transition is not smooth. There are rebellions to quell, loyalists to neutralize, entire sectors that refuse to acknowledge the new order. Moffs who carved out their own fiefdoms under Palpatine's rule resist any attempt to rein them in. Regional governors who profited from corruption fight to preserve their privileges. Grand Moff Tarkin proves to be one of the most dangerous. The thin, severe man had been Palpatine's most loyal military commander, overseeing the construction of superweapons and the subjugation of countless worlds. When news of the Emperor's death reaches him, Tarkin immediately declares himself the legitimate successor, claiming control of the military assets in his sector. Anakin deals with him personally. He takes his single shuttle to Tarkin's flagship, walks through the corridors alone, and enters the bridge where Tarkin waits with 100 armed soldiers. The battle, if it can be called that, lasts less than 3 minutes. Tarkin dies with his hand still reaching for his sidearm, cut down by a man he thought he understood. Other challenges follow. Admiral Gallius Rax attempts to rally the Outer Rim fleet for an assault on Coruscant. Anakin intercepts him in deep space, boarding his Star Destroyer. Padme becomes his partner in governance, as she was once his partner in marriage. Her political instincts complement his military strength, and together they begin dismantling the worst excesses of Palpatine's regime. The Inquisitorius is dissolved, its surviving members given the choice between exile and execution. Most choose exile. The slave labor camps are shut down, their prisoners freed and offered compensation for their suffering. Political prisoners are released, their records expunged. The most oppressive laws are repealed, replaced with codes that emphasize justice rather than control. It is not democracy. Not yet, perhaps not ever. The galaxy is too fractured, too scarred by war and tyranny, to return immediately to the old ways. But it is better than what came before. And it is moving in the right direction. Through it all, Anakin struggles with his own nature. The dark side still calls to him, still offers power beyond imagining. He feels its pull in moments of stress, in the heat of battle, in the quiet hours of the night when memories of his crimes haunt him. The younglings he killed in the temple, the Jedi he hunted across the galaxy, the civilians who died because he gave the orders. The weight of so many deaths presses down on him, threatening to drag him back into the darkness. But he no longer fears it as the Jedi taught him to, nor does he embrace it as the Sith demanded. He has found his own balance, a precarious equilibrium between light and darkness that requires constant vigilance to maintain. Luke and Leia help. His children are his anchors, his reminders of why he chose this path. When the darkness calls, he looks at them and remembers what he's fighting for. What he's living for. He trains them in the ways of the Force, teaching them everything he knows about both the light and the dark. He allows them to find their own balance, their own path. He will not make the mistakes the Jedi made with him, forcing rigid doctrine that ignores the complexity of the Force. Luke takes naturally to the meditative aspects of Force training. His calm demeanor and natural empathy make him a healer and peacemaker. He can sense suffering across vast distances, can offer comfort through the Force to those in need. He will be a different kind of Force user, Anakin realizes. A gentle one, a compassionate one. Leia embraces the more active applications. Her fierce determination and natural leadership make her a warrior and diplomat in equal measure. She can command rooms with her presence, can negotiate treaties with beings who have hated each other for generations. She will change the galaxy, Anakin realizes. She will reshape it through sheer force of will. Together, the Skywalker family begins to reshape not just the Empire, but the very understanding of the Force itself. Anakin sends agents to search for surviving Jedi, not to eliminate them, but to invite them to join his new order. Some refuse, too traumatized by the purges, too suspicious of any Skywalker to trust his intentions. They disappear into the Outer Rim, choosing isolation over collaboration, but others accept, intrigued by the prospect of a Force tradition that transcends the old divisions. Slowly, carefully, a new academy takes shape on Coruscant. One that teaches neither the strict dogma of the Jedi nor the corrupting philosophy of the Sith, but something new. Something balanced. Years pass. Luke and Leia grow into young adults, powerful Force users and capable leaders in their own right. Luke becomes the head of the new Force Academy, guiding the next generation of students in the balanced path his father pioneered. He is a patient teacher, kind and understanding, always willing to help struggling students find their way. Leia takes on an increasingly prominent role in governance, her political skills rivaling her mother's, her Force abilities giving her insights that make her nearly impossible to deceive. She can sense lies before they're spoken, can read intentions beneath careful masks. They are the future Anakin always hoped for. Proof that the cycle of darkness can be broken, that the sins of the father need not be visited upon the children, and Anakin himself. He grows older, wiser, more at peace. The fires of his youth have cooled, tempered by time and experience. He still carries the weight of his crimes, still wakes some nights with the screams of younglings echoing in his mind. He will never fully forgive himself for what he did. He shouldn't, but he has learned to live with that weight, to use it as a reminder of what he must never become again. A goad to do better, be better, every single day. He is not the Jedi hero he was born to be. He is not the Sith monster he became. He is something else entirely. Something new. On the 50th anniversary of Palpatine's death, Anakin stands on the balcony of the Imperial Palace, looking out at the sprawling cityscape of Coruscant. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold. Ships stream through the airways, millions of lives going about their business, building futures that would have been impossible under Palpatine's rule. Beside him stands Padme, her hair streaked with silver, her face lined with age, but her eyes still bright with intelligence and warmth. They have been through so much together, so much pain, so much loss, but also so much growth, so much redemption. Do you regret it? She asks quietly. Any of it? Anakin considers the question. He thinks of Mustafar, of the younglings, of the countless lives he took in Palpatine's name. He thinks of the friends he lost, the family he nearly destroyed. He thinks of Obi-Wan, bleeding on the volcanic shore, his faith in Anakin shattered. Yes, he finally says. Every day. But I don't regret the path that brought me here. The mistakes I made led me to understand what truly matters. And that understanding allowed me to become something I never thought possible. What's that? He looks at her, at the woman who stood by him through everything, who believed in him even when he couldn't believe in himself, who raised his children with love and wisdom when he was too lost in darkness to do it himself. A father, a husband, a protector. The things I always wanted to be, but didn't know how. It took losing everything to understand that the power I craved was never what I needed. What I needed was always right in front of me. Padme takes his hand, squeezing gently. You've done so much good, Anakin. The galaxy is better because of you. Not because of the power you wielded, but because of the choices you made. The man you chose to be. Anakin smiles, a rare expression these days. I had help. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Without Luke and Leia. Without the family I almost destroyed. They stand together in comfortable silence, watching the sun sink below the horizon. Somewhere in the palace, Luke is teaching a class of young Force students. In another wing, Leia is meeting with senators, negotiating trade agreements that will bring prosperity to a dozen worlds. The Empire continues, reformed but still mighty. A force for order rather than oppression. It is not perfect. It may never be perfect. But it is trying. And that is more than Anakin ever dared hope for. Far from Coruscant, on a forgotten world in the Outer Rim, another figure watches the sunset. Obi-Wan Kenobi sits in front of a small dwelling, his beard long and gray, his body frail with age. The wound Anakin dealt him on Mustafar never fully healed. His arm still hangs useless at his side, a constant reminder of the battle that changed everything. He has spent the last 15 years in hiding, watching the galaxy transform from afar. At first, he expected the worst. Expected Anakin to become the monster he feared. Expected the Empire to be an engine of destruction and tyranny. But that didn't happen. He felt it when Palpatine died. Felt the ripple in the Force as the darkness that had choked the galaxy for so long suddenly lifted. And he felt something else, something he had given up hope of ever feeling again. Light, rising from the ashes of the Empire. Not the cold light of the old Jedi Order, but something warmer. Something that felt almost like hope. He did not understand at first. How could Anakin, the man who had fallen so far, the monster who had destroyed everything they built, how could he be the source of that light? But as the years passed and reports filtered through the holonets, Obi-Wan began to understand. Anakin had done what Obi-Wan could never do. He had faced his darkness, confronted it head-on, and chosen to be something else. It should have been me, Obi-Wan whispers to the empty air. I should have been there. I should have helped him. But even as he speaks, he knows it isn't true. Anakin's redemption was something he had to find for himself. If Obi-Wan had been there, if he had tried to guide Anakin back to the light, it would never have worked. Anakin needed to choose. He needed to face the consequences of his actions and decide, freely and without coercion, to be better. And he had. Against all odds, against everything the Sith were supposed to be, Anakin Skywalker had chosen love over power, family over empire, hope over despair. Perhaps Obi-Wan muses, that was what the prophecy meant all along. Not that the chosen one would destroy the Sith by killing them all, but that he would transcend them. That he would find a way to balance the Force not through combat or conquest, but through understanding. Through choice, he feels a presence approaching. Familiar and warm. A ship descending from the sky, settling on the sand in front of his dwelling. The ramp lowers, and a figure emerges. Tall, broad-shouldered, graying hair and a face lined by years of struggle and triumph. Anakin Skywalker walks toward him, and for a moment, Obi-Wan sees not the man he is now, but the boy he trained. The eager, passionate, brilliant boy who wanted so desperately to be great. Hello, Obi-Wan, Anakin. I'm not here to justify myself. I know what I did. I know there's no forgiveness for the things I've done, no atonement that could ever be enough. But I needed you to know. I needed you to see that I'm trying. That I haven't given up. That the boy you trained, the Padawan you believed in, he's still in here somewhere. Obi-Wan studies his former apprentice. He sees the weight Anakin carries, the guilt that will never fully leave him. But he also sees something else. Resolve, determination, a commitment to doing better. Being better for as long as he lives, and despite everything. Obi-Wan feels something he hasn't felt in 15 years. Pride. I see it, Anakin, he says softly. I see who you're trying to be. And for what it's worth, I think you might succeed. I think you might actually bring balance to the Force. Not the way the prophecy predicted, but perhaps the way it was meant to be. Anakin's eyes glisten. That means more than you know. They stand together, master and apprentice, brothers in all but blood, separated by years of pain and silence. The sunset stretches across the sky, painting the desert in shades of purple and gold. A gentle wind stirs the sand around them, carrying with it the silence of the empty world. And then Obi-Wan does something he never expected to do. He opens his arms. Anakin hesitates for just a moment. In that hesitation, 15 years of guilt and regret flash through his mind. The moment on Mustafar. The years of serving the Empire. The lives he took. The trust he betrayed. Does he deserve forgiveness? Does he deserve this gesture of reconciliation from the man he nearly killed? Then he steps forward into the embrace. They hold each other, two old men scarred by war and loss and choices they can never undo. Holding on to each other as if letting go would mean losing everything all over again. Anakin feels tears on his cheeks, though he can't remember when he started crying. "I'm sorry," he whispers. "For everything. For Mustafar. For the younglings. For turning my back on everything you taught me. I'm so sorry, Obi-Wan." Obi-Wan's arms tighten around him. I know you are. And while I cannot say everything is forgiven, because some things cannot be forgiven, I can say this. I am proud of the man you have become. Not the man you were. The man you chose to be, after everything. They stay like that for a long moment. Two broken men finding something like peace in each other's presence. When they finally separate, Obi-Wan is smiling. A genuine smile, perhaps the first in 15 years. His eyes are wet, but there is warmth in them. Warmth Anakin never thought he would see again. "Come inside," he says, his voice rough with emotion. "Tell me about my grandnephew and grandniece. I've heard remarkable things from passing travelers. Stories about the Skywalker twins who are changing the galaxy." Anakin laughs, a genuine sound that echoes across the desert. "They're remarkable, all right. A handful, both of them. Just like their father was, I imagine." He pauses, his expression growing serious. "Will you come back with me? There's room for you in the New Order. Luke would love to meet you properly. He's heard stories, but it's not the same. And Leia has a lot of questions about the old days. About the Jedi. About you. Obi-Wan considers. For years, he has hidden here, waiting for death, convinced that his part in the galaxy's story was over. That the best he could do was fade away quietly, leaving no trace of the failure he had become. But perhaps there is still work to be done. Perhaps there is still wisdom he can offer, still guidance he can provide. Perhaps, after everything, there's still time to be the master he should have been. "Let me think about it," he says. "For now, come inside. We have a lot of catching up to do." Anakin follows him into the dwelling, and for the first time in 15 years, the two of them talk. Really talk. About the old days, about their mistakes, about the path that led them here. About Luke and Leia, about Padme, about the future of the Force. They talk through the night and into the dawn, two old friends finding their way back to each other. And when the sun rises, Obi-Wan has made his decision. A week later, Obi-Wan Kenobi arrives on Coruscant. The city planet has changed since he last walked its streets. 15 years ago, when he fled with Yoda after the fall of the Republic. The Imperial architecture remains, the towering spires and gleaming surfaces, but there is something different in the air. Hope, perhaps. The sense of possibility that comes when tyranny ends and something new begins. He walks into the new Force Academy, a building constructed on the ruins of the old Jedi Temple. It is not the same as it was before. The architecture is different, the philosophy that guides it is different. The students who walk its halls are different. But there is something familiar about it nonetheless. A sense of purpose. A dedication to something greater than oneself. Luke Skywalker waits to greet him at the entrance. The young man's face lights up as the old Jedi approaches. He is tall and fair-haired like his father, but his eyes are kind, his presence warm. He carries himself with an easy confidence that speaks of inner peace. "Master Kenobi, it's an honor. I've heard so much about you. My father told me stories about the Clone Wars, about the missions you flew together, about the bond you shared. He always spoke of you with such respect, even when he thought you were gone." Obi-Wan smiles, feeling a warmth spread through his chest. "Just Obi-Wan, please. I haven't been anyone's master in a very long time." And I suspect I have as much to learn from you as you do from me. Your father tells me you've created something remarkable here. Luke gestures toward the academy's interior, where students of all ages and species move through the corridors, some in meditation, some in training, some in study. We're trying to find a balance, Luke explains. My father taught us that the old divisions between light and dark were artificial, that the Force is one thing, and we must learn to embrace all of it without being consumed by any part of it. It's not easy. Some students struggle. Some fail. But those who succeed become something new. Something that neither the Jedi nor the Sith ever imagined. As they clasp hands, the students watch in wonder. They are witnessing history. The bridging of two eras. The healing of an ancient wound. The last of the old Jedi joining hands with the first of the new. Leia joins them moments later, having come from a Senate meeting that ran late. She embraces Obi-Wan without hesitation, her political reserve momentarily forgotten. We're glad you're here, she says simply. Our family is complete now. And looking at the three of them, the children of his former apprentice, and the man he once thought lost forever, Obi-Wan feels something he hasn't felt in 15 years. Peace. This is the legacy of Anakin Skywalker. Not conquest. Not destruction. Not the terrible empire the Sith envisioned. But something far more valuable. A family reunited. A master and apprentice reconciled. A galaxy slowly learning to heal. And a Force, once divided between light and dark, finally finding balance. In the end, the prophecy was right. Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one, but his destiny was never to rule the galaxy or destroy the Jedi or bring about an age of darkness. His destiny was this moment, this choice, this chance to prove that no one is beyond redemption, that even the darkest soul can find its way back to the light. The galaxy would remember him in different ways. Some would remember Darth Vader, the Emperor's enforcer, the monster who hunted Jedi and crushed rebellions. Those memories would never fully fade, nor should they. The crimes committed could not be erased by later good deeds, but others would remember what came after. The man who killed the Emperor to save his children. The ruler who reformed an empire of tyranny into something approaching justice. The father who raised two of the most remarkable Force users the galaxy had ever seen. The husband who found his way back to the woman he nearly destroyed. And in the Force Academy on Coruscant, where a new generation of students learn to balance light and darkness, they would tell the story of Anakin Skywalker. Not as a warning, though there were warnings in his tale. Not as a hero, though there was heroism in his choices. But as proof of a simple truth that the galaxy often forgot. It is never too late to choose differently. It is never too late to be better. He didn't defeat Obi-Wan on Mustafar to become a monster. He defeated him to become something better. And in doing so, he changed everything. That's our theory. The Star Wars universe is a galaxy filled with exciting stories and possibilities, and we love exploring them. If you want to accompany us on this journey to a galaxy far, far away, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.